Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Market Today on Business Today Television. I'm your host, Shail Bhatnagar. We begin Thursday, the weekly expiry of the Nifty, on a back foot. The Nifty is caught in a range 24,500 at the lower base and 24,800 at the higher base. So, in this 300 point range is what the weekly expiry is likely to pan out. Overseas skews, when you see across the board, are weak. Wall Street, specifically Dow Jones Index, ended in the red. There is strength remaining and continuing in the US 10-year bond yield, and our foreign fund friends continue to remain net sellers. Yesterday's number is more than 3,500 crore rupees. So any move of the Nifty around to 24,700, my apologies, 23,700, 23,800 is met with heavy selling pressure, and it results in delivery based exits by a lot of foreign institutional friends. What else is happening in the market? Today is the beginning of the third quarter earnings. TCS, India's largest IT services provider, will report its third quarter numbers post market hours. Mostly the third quarter is weak for the TCS, and therefore you just might see selling pressure coming in early trade as far as TCS is concerned. In any case, it hasn't done much over the last 6 months or so. From a high of about 4,300 rupees, the stock is languishing around 4,000 rupees. So that's how it is as far as TCS is concerned. A lot of important data coming in from index heavyweights. Look at Tata Motors. This is something that we need to keep in mind. Tata Motors reported its business update for the third quarter, and one of the biggest pain points has been how JLR sales have performed in the 3 months gone by. That number is heartening. Wholesale sales have sheared sharply, and therefore you need to keep in mind TCS. The other stock which is really important apart from TCS and Tata Motors is HCL Technologies. Remember, HCL Technologies is also a software company who's traditionally reported a very strong third quarter. The stock is already around record highs, and therefore there should be a positive rub-off from TCS's earnings on HCL Technologies. So TCS, HCL Technologies from the tech space, as also Tata Motors, which is an index heavyweight from the auto space. What we'll do, ladies and gentlemen, is that we'll put the commentary on side and get in touch with Mr. Devin Choksi, MD for DR Choksi FinServe Private Limited. Namaste Devin Bhai, a very warm welcome to you, sir. We start third quarter earnings with TCS. What are your expectations from this giant? The weak rupee has been a salutary effect on IT stocks, and TCS has also participated in this rally. What are the numbers telling you, and what is your estimate?
Good morning, Shail. Well, I think the numbers are likely to remain muted as we see it, I think, in this particular period as far as the projections are concerned. And in my viewpoint, I think these numbers are likely to show up in 2025, largely because of variety of the projects and activities that the companies are likely to take up, particularly I think the bigger ones. In my viewpoint, I think AI-based projects are getting rolled out, and maybe I think we will soon listen more from the US companies about how exactly they are adapting to the newer segment of use cases in AI. Now, if that does happen, then some of the Indian IT companies like TCS, Infosys will probably have relatively better numbers to talk about, better order book position to talk about, better leverage to talk about. Second most important thing, which is an extremely important one, how the Indian IT companies are further investing into the data centers and the computing space. Because on one side, we are having the semiconductors coming up, and at the same time, I think variety of applications embedded with semiconductors now picking up in different use cases. How these companies are taking up the platform-based development is something which we would like to listen from the company's management, and something which we haven't heard up till now, but it's an expectation. So that is the way we look at the company. As far as the numbers are concerned, I don't think that we are all talking about many different numbers and many positive surprises either, as far as I think the upside is concerned.
Right. So that's the view that is coming in on TCS. One other stock that we will keep in mind is Manappuram Finance. The chart appears in front of you. The restrictions that were placed 3 months ago by the Reserve Bank of India on Manappuram's microcap finance company Ashirwad have been lifted. In this time, Manappuram had slipped substantially and then recovered smartly. Perhaps this is the time to sort of book profit on some very smart gains that have come into Manappuram. Let's get Devin Bhai's view on the gold financing sector. Devin Bhai, your view on Manappuram Finance against the backdrop that Muthoot Finance, its larger rival, continues to hit record highs, and the overhang that we saw from the central bank on restrictions placed on microfinance lending by Manappuram have now been removed.
Yeah, I think that's a breather, I would say so. I think, and that is where probably I think one could possibly argue for re-rating. However, I'm not too sure, I think, how much this re-rating in the stock price would get justified with the kind of numbers that these companies are reporting. To me, I think everything is fully priced at this point of time, and nothing is very surprising or exceptional going forward either. So we'll have to wait and see. Not so bullish about the immediate prospects of the lenders as far as I think the gold finance concerned. They continue to do well, but everything is in price. That's a only concern. Maybe if market gives correction to the price, that will be a better opportunity. Maybe from the sustainability point of view, we prefer to stay with consumer finance lending companies. We prefer to stay with the companies which are into housing finance. That's where our preference would be much higher compared to the specific NBFCs like gold finance companies.
Devin Bhai, apart from TCS and HCL Tech, which kick off third quarter earnings, are there any outperformers that you are hoping to address during the third quarter? In terms of sectors and stocks, where could you see outperformance over Q2 that has gone by and year on year compared with last year's third quarter?
So it's more of an engineering R&D space, I think, which one could possibly go for, largely because of the fact that given the development which are happening with different verticals, be it automobile, be it entertainment, be it aviation, or even for that matter healthcare, some of these strong verticals in which some of the engineering R&D companies are operating, including the EMS segments in which some of the companies have been operating, we relatively remain more positive and confident about the prospects going forward for this particular space for two reasons. On one side, different use cases are getting developed, so the customers on the other side are engaging the engineering R&D companies much more than what they have been doing it before. Some of the larger companies who are their frontline peers are not in a position to meet competitively. That is also we realize. So they may have the capability, but they are not in a position to competitively bid for these projects. So as a result of it, the advantage naturally goes to the likes of LTTS, KPIT, or even Tata Technology, Tata Elxsi kind of companies. They may be priced already, I think, in the current environment. But my take would be that any market correction which is currently available in some of the stocks, I think it's a good opportunity to add to the portfolio these companies and stay invested for about 2 years to 3 years, because that is where we are likely to unfold the higher amount of earnings in coming 2 to 3 years as these companies are concerned.
Then by just allow me 20 seconds, I'll just mark the pre-open and then come back to you immediately. 45 points higher on the Nifty as far as the index is concerned. We are smack at 23,800. This is a level which consistently sees selling pressure. Let us see what happens at that level. For the moment, let's start with TCS. It's opening 52 rupees higher at 41.58. There is Infosys, which is 36 rupees higher at 1970. This is a very positive start. Look at Tata Motors. This is something which was a pain point for the market. Now 25 rupees higher at 820. Let's hope that these gains stick around. The business update for the third quarter paints a very rosy picture for JLR sales. which is Land Rover sales, which is one of the biggest contributors to Tata Motors' bottom line. Now, what is in pain? It's HDFC Bank, the super index heavyweight for both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, 34 rupees lower at 1660. Reliance 19 rupees higher at 2484. Reliance, remember, is being used very judiciously by institutional players to balance out the negativity in the market, in particular the Nifty. Let's take Devan Bhai's view on Reliance. Devan Bhai, this is something that has been over the last 4 or 5 days playing a pivotal role in balancing the weakness and the strength on the Nifty. How do you see in Reliance at multi-month lows and now showing signs of recovery? What is the house view on RIL at about 1281?
We continue to remain bullish on this particular company for a variety of reasons. One, larger the size of profit making, better the ability to invest money into the newer programs. Consider the fact that I think they are transforming the company by adapting AI across all the manufacturing facilities and all the services. Now, if that does happen, then I think you're transforming the company across all the existing verticals too, from the cost, efficiency, accuracy point of view, and implementing the earnings along with. So all these points put together, I think this company becomes, I think, very favorite company from perspective of how they're adopting the entire new generation of technology from of AI. Secondly, most important part, the two verticals, the retail vertical as well as geo platform vertical. Both these companies are separate companies into the Reliance, and they are now likely to become the separately listed company in 2025 and 2026-27. So, if that is reality, then in such case, the unlocking of valuation to the extent of around 14-15 lakh crores, I think, is definitely happening in a serious note. So certainly, I think these companies on a standalone basis would probably find larger merits. In my viewpoint, I think Reliance at current levels is discounting probably whatever the worst case scenario that one has calculated about the earnings on the refining side of the activity.
Yes.
In my viewpoint, I think third quarter onwards, the earnings in the refining side of the activity stands in, the prospects are improving. So from that point of view, I would think that the company looks interesting from the investment perspective.
Okay. Reliance, ladies and gentlemen, has corrected anywhere between 27 to 28% from its post ex bonus hike high of 1608, which was seen in July. And the price that you see is the lowest since December 2023. So we are basically looking at a 12, 13-month low on RIL, and this is something which should be a beacon for those long-term investors who want RIL in their portfolio. Just again move into the markets. Manappuram, like I was suggesting, is now up 10% at 198. This is the positivity that is getting reflected by RBI's now move to remove the restrictions on microfinance lending on Manappuram. Will this hold? Only time will tell. Most likely you will see heavy profit booking coming into Manappuram Finance. What else is moving? News-led Lupin. You have news coming in from one of its main plants, 2% higher at 2300. You have stocks of Max Healthcare, 1% higher. You have Honasa Consumer, 2.7% higher. You have Anand Rathi Wealth, 3.5% higher. And of course, stocks that we completely forgot about. 3 years ago, SRF was the talk of the town. It went up from 2,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees, announced a split, 5:1, came back to 2,000 rupees, and for the last 4 years has done nothing. But for the last 3 days, very active, 6% higher, 2,500 rupees. Your view, Devan Bhai, on SRF? This is a stock that is coming back into traders' consciousness. What are the pluses that you see in SRF?
So the key triggers, as I see it, I think on one side, the input cost, which up till now bothered this company, I think is now taken care of. In fact, I think most of the chemical and specialty chemical companies, last 1.5 years has been a troublesome period. wherein I think they had the rise in the input cost and they unable to I think, pass it on to the customer. Because post-COVID, whatever the demand surge which take place, I think got rationalized. In fact, I think most of the customers in the respective customer segments which in this company operating, I think they were also subdued, which I believe that I think is the situation now getting corrected. Maybe I think you are not going to see the full bloom upside as far as I think the demand scenario is concerned. But in my report, I think things worse situations are probably I think behind companies like SRF or Navin Flooring. We like the investment proposition now compared to what it were I think 1.5 years back. So maybe I think re-rating plus improvement in the profits. I think both are on cards for most of the specialty companies, chemical companies as we see it.
Okay, just a quick detour into the markets. The Nifty settled about 15 points lower. I just want to see what the PSU basket is doing. Any gainers that I would like to talk about? Yes, we have BHEL 1.1% higher. The company has commissioned 2 units in Indo-Bhutan hydroelectric unit, and that is something that can be looked forward to. Nothing much that I could like to point out, just bit gains on HPCL, Concor, Hindustan Zinc, Coal India. Nothing much that sort of reflects strength on the weekly expiry day. Devan bhai, what is your view for the market till January 20th when the US president takes charge? All sorts of news that which is disconcerting. He wants to take over Greenland. He wants to take over Panama Canal. He wants Canada as well. All these things we've never heard for the last 30-35 years. Are we headed for an unstable world at a time when Indian valuations are really high? How do you navigate till Jan 20th and then maybe 2025?
So in my understanding, Shail, the Make in America is a program which the new president is wanting to conduct. And that's where probably I think next of his initiatives are going to be. America has been refusing to bring in the dependability on itself. And they have been outsourcing most of the things, which has created a situation of significant amount of the gaps in every aspect of financials. Maybe I think that is one point I think on which this country is going to probably show different character, and I'm happy that I think they are going to do that because as a partner, India is likely to remain I think more favorable player as far as I think the partners are concerned. So in my viewpoint, I think we states benefited. Our companies also have been progressively entering into America, and I think we also have a relatively better things to talk about. So in my viewpoint, I think things are only likely to do better for India. I do agree that the valuations in India they remain at an elevated level, but not for the Nifty 50 companies. I think the elevated valuations are largely for the mid cap and small cap companies. Nifty 50 companies have remained quite moderated on their valuations. In my viewpoint, the current correction in the price, which is bringing the Nifty 50 companies at a P of less than 20, is something which is not so expensive. So, given the kind of growth that we are experiencing, I think that these companies could find buyers, and probably we will see the buying returning into equity markets in India, particularly the large caps in 2025. That's what our understanding of the subject is.
Okay, fair point. Just an update on how the market has settled. 14 points down on the Nifty. Nifty Bank is down 122. Nifty IT on the back foot just about marginally, no change in Nifty 500. Remember, it's the weekly expiry. If we are able to navigate above 23,800, then possibly a very sharp round of short covering. But if 23,500 goes, well, it's going to be a pain point. Let's also look at the two most important stocks within the index heavyweight space. I am referring to TCS, the earnings boy over today. It settled 7 rupees 40 lower, and Tata Motors 5 rupees higher. So that's how the markets are looking at. And Manappuram now 4.9% higher, settling at about 189 in pre-open trade. Let's sort of widen the discussion to include other sectors. Devin bhai, the call on auto, this has been one of the sectors that for the last 3 months has been in pain, but overall auto has been an excellent outperformer for 2024. Within auto, what is your preference? Two-wheelers, three-wheelers, or maybe passenger vehicles and commercial vehicles? What is the top call at DR Choksi?
Priority-wise, I think the commercial vehicle would be the first priority. We heard the minister saying the other day that the scrappage of vehicle has started gaining momentum now. Something which was introduced in 2022 is now gaining the momentum as we are here. This in itself, I think, is expected to create 1.5 to 2.5 lakh new truck demands in coming period, and that is what probably will keep the likes of Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, Eicher busy for I think good part of the year. So we like to take a contract on this particular segment immediately because I think that is where we feel that probably most of the positives are in place. Except that I think we are likely to see the higher amount of growth in coming period. The the spoil spot in this entire thing is your interest rates. Even that is probably likely to get reduced from February onwards, and that journey will continue for next 6 to 8 quarters with the rate reduction. So, to my mind, I think even that component which is missing for commercial vehicle, the cheaper cost of finance, that is also getting added next month onwards. So, one can take a contract on commercial vehicles. Second one would be obviously, I think, the two-wheelers, particularly likes of Bajaj. I would name straight away like because I think they are focused on exports, they are focused on electric vehicle, they are focused on flex fuel, and all of them is also bringing not only the top line but also the bottom line for the company. So that is where we remain relatively more bullish about the prospects of two-wheeler and in particular of Bajaj.
Okay. We'll also keep Anand Rathi Wealth in our radar. The company has informed the exchanges that in its latest board meet, which is likely to be held shortly, it will consider a bonus issue. 3775, ladies and gentlemen. It's opening about 155 points higher in trade today. The most recent high was 4600, but it's been one of the finest wealth creators since July 2023. Over the span of 17-18 months, the stock has given a fourfold return from a low of 926 to a high of 4600. Please keep this stock in mind as well. Devin bhai, before we let you go, sir, what would be your view on the forthcoming budget? Any SOPs that you see for retail investors, maybe the overburdened middle class in terms of tax payouts, and what would be the top pick till the budget?
Well, continuity in spending on the infrastructure is the first expectation in eye on. From 11 lakh crore, I think if this particular amount is increased to 12.5 lakh crore, that would be the first thing that I would like to probably see as far as I think the budget allocations are concerned. Second thing which I would like to see in the budgetary allocation is rationalization of GST, excise duty, sales tax. I think that is something which currently is continuing with some of the products. Now probably they get added into GST. In fact, I think the burden on the other side of the GST will come down because today the government is constrained to keep the GST rates high for other than the petrol products and all because I think they are not in GST. Once I think petrol products and the other products, including the liquor and all, they come into GST. I believe that I think there is a case for bringing down the rate of GST in consumer product, and that should result into generating higher amount of demand for the economy as a whole. That's a cycle effect. I think that one is probably likely to get, and that's what the expectation is going to be. The last one, probably from my side, would be don't tinker around too much I think, with the tax rates. Whatever the tax rates that you have established, I think let it stabilize. I think otherwise, the investor will probably run away from whatever activity which they are. In fact, I think the budget should be providing the future outlook for next few many years, as against I think looking at only 1 year at a time. So that is what I think one could possibly look around for as far as the budget is concerned.
Okay. Devin bhai, just a mild detour. The markets have opened. Please allow me just 2 minutes to address them. 53 points lower on the Nifty, 290 points lower on the Bank Nifty. Remember, for the Nifty, we are on the weekly expiry day. The two most important stocks that I want to check out is TCS. Okay, now opening almost 8 rupees higher, 41.16. What about Tata Motors? Again, 8 rupees higher at 803. What is Infosys doing? 13 rupees higher, 1946. Remember, we kick off the third quarter earnings with the IT sector in the forefront. TCS, India's largest IT services provider, will be announcing its third quarter performance post market close. What else is interesting? Let's go straight into the top gainers at NSE 500. Where is action concentrated? 9% higher on Navin Fluorine, which is a competitor of SRF, which itself is 9% higher. Anand Rathi to announce a bonus, 3.5% higher, 3,966. Manappuram Finance, RBI's strong grip on its micro lending is eased, 4% higher, 187. Saregama, 7% higher. You have Bajaj Auto, 2.5% higher. This is the gainers list. Lupin in the green, marginally so at record highs. Most active counters, okay, interesting. SRF, that's really good. 144 crores have already been traded. In the green are, okay, let's mark Ireda, 1% higher. Let's mark Zydus Life, let's mark Kotak. Which is the top loser? SBI in the NSE 500 space, most active, 1.4% lower. HDFC Bank a percent lower, Zomato 1.2% lower, Reliance 0.2% lower in ITI profit booking. So that is how the markets have opened. One very quick look at advanced decline, then again I'll get back to Devin Bhai. Advanced decline is 1,000 stocks in the green, 1,000 the red. So it's 1:1. We track 19 indices for you. 15 are in the red, 4 are in the green. The mid cap select index is in the green, small cap, mid cap marginally. So it's a modest kind of an opening, and this is absolutely the right time to welcome Mr. Mitesh Panchal with us, who tracks the charts with a lot of effort. Namaste Mitesh ji, Navvarsh ki Shubhkamnaएं. The Nifty on its weekly expiry day now at 23,624. Anything that catches your fancy on the long side, plus your view on sentiment at Dalal Street.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर जी, नववर्ष की आपको और BTTV को शुभकामनाएं, साक्षी जी को भी शुभकामनाएं. गुड मॉर्निंग टू देवेश सर as well. As far as index is concerned, I would like to first throw light on that. On 21st of November 2024, we have hit an intermediate low of 23,263, and recently before 4 trading sessions we hit the recent high at around 24,226. So if I take the range, Shailji, it comes at 963 points. So I am of the view that going forward, at least for the next 1 or 2 months, indices will move in this broad range, that is 24,226, which is a recent high on the upside, and 23,263 on the downside. Once Nifty breaches any of this level, probably then only we can talk about the new levels on either of the side. So we are of the view that the next 1 to 2 months is all about consolidation, and in this consolidation, some of the stocks are looking pretty interesting. To start with, I'll give you 3 ideas today. First is GMM Pfaudler. If you look at the chart pattern of GMM Pfaudler, recently on 2nd of Jan 2025, it has made a remarkable comeback. But again, in the subsequent 1 days, the stock has lost its momentum. But we are of the view that sooner than later, stock will gain momentum. And we are expecting 1400 levels on the upside. The stock is trading at 1193. So we are of the view that as of now, one should go and accumulate the stock. Second is Ambika Cotton Mill. So if you even if you look at the chart pattern of Ambika Cotton Mill, the story remains the same. Before a few days, it had a very good spike to the tune of 1769, and then the rally has fed up. But we are of the view that sooner than later, the stock will gain the momentum and probably will touch around 1820 levels. So Ambika Cotton Mill is a buy as of now. And third one is Tata Motor. If you look at the chart pattern of Tata Motor, after forming a consolidation between the range of 717 to 720, we have witnessed a very strong up move. Since last few days it is consolidating, but yes, now above the level of 800, stock will witness a fresh breakout. and the stock will likely to enter into a new trading range and achieve 850 to 860 levels sooner than later. So these are the three ideas which we are looking at.
Right. Let's just pay attention to where the market is moving. There is an absolute blowout in the chemical space, and this is primarily because of the 10% circuit that we have seen in SRF in the first instance of trade. So, apart from SRF, which is up 10%, you have Naveen Fluorine, which is in top form. Let's just look at Naveen Fluorine, both 10% higher. A strong move coming into IGL, Manappuram 4% higher. Uh, Mitesh bhai, I think after maybe 3.5 years, you see signs of trader interest in the chemical space on the long side. How would you view SRF and anything that you would have for Naveen Fluorine? Both charts show strength. Naveen Fluorine is now at its highest since June, and of course, SRF is the top performer.
Okay. So as far as Naveen Fluorine is concerned, based on a system and method, Shailji, on 29th of November 2024, it's a buy at 3507. So as a disclaimer, our clients might have direct or indirect position in Naveen Fluorine. I don't have. Structure is looking very positive. There are intermediate resistances in the range of 37 to 3800, but we are of the view that since the stock has spent a quality time in consolidation, probably sooner than later we will see 4100, 4200 levels on the upside. So yes, Naveen Fluorine is a buy as of now. Second stock which you have mentioned, which is in the upper circuit as of now, of 10%, that is SRF. Now with this 10% up move, SRF is likely to cross its intermediate high of 2389. And if going forward, if SRF continue to remain at this level, then probably the next level on the upside is 2700. So we are of the view that the current rally in SRF is nothing but a strong breakout on the upside, and it is a reversal of the trend. One should look at SRF and Naveen Fluorine both.
Fair point. Just a bit of a detour into the market. Let me just point out some new highs. Apart from PTC Industries Limited, which we mark every day, there is a paucity of new highs today. Volume buzzers, Naveen Fluorine in the first 7 minutes of trade has already done 230% of its 5-day average. So a lot of transactions happening even at 10% circuit. Ditto for SRF, almost 175% 5-day average. Anand Rathi, which will announce a bonus issue shortly, is in the green, 200% of 5-day average. So this is how it is in the early part of deal. Buzzing in strength is Zydus Life. In strength is Manappuram Finance, 5% higher. Miteshji, what are the charts of Manappuram now telling you? It's sort of consolidating after maybe a nice bounce up, 5% higher, a gap up.
Exactly. I think you put it rightly. Above 175, it's a clear-cut breakout both on a weekly and a monthly chart, and it's extension of the trend. So we are of the view that going forward, Manappuram Finance will test 210, 220 levels. So one can go long at the current level with a stop of 180 for the target of 210, 220.
Okay. Remember, somewhere on 18th of October, when these restrictions were announced, Manappuram had opened a gap down and closed 13% lower. It slid further down to 140, and at that level, the correction was worth 40% from its most recent high of 229, which we saw on 18th of July. From 140 levels in the last 3 months, the stock has appreciated to 190. So that's roughly, if you see, more than a 33% gain in the last 3 months alone. Anything you are observing in the markets, Miteshji, which catches your fancy, sir, on the long or the short side?
Yeah, on the long side, I think two stocks. First is Hindalco, is very promising in early hours. I think 598 the future is trading at. So I think Hindalco is pretty interesting with stop of 590. One can go long for intraday target of 610, 615. Apart from that, in the initial trading minutes, the FMCG is looking pretty interesting. So I think Asian Paint is one should look at 2357 with a stop of 2330. One should look at the Asian Paints for the intraday target of 2370, 2380. And apart from that, there is a very nice bounce in Britannia as well. So at 400, 4,882, Britannia is also a buy with a stop of 4820 for the intraday potential target of 4950, 4980.
Okay, this is a very smart move that is coming across the FMCG space. ITC, which is now above 450. Colgate Palmolive 1% higher, 2818. Miteshi has marked Britannia 4868. You see Hindustan Unilever also moving up, and of course United Breweries 2018 about 1% higher. Let's look at the top gainers and find out where the money is moving in. So it's going to be a chemicals day. Look at old world favorites. Alkyl amine 8.7% higher. Balaji Amines 8.5% higher. You know, a lot of old world favorites are coming back in this space. Gujarat Fluorochem 5.5% higher. These are the chemical stocks that I see right in front of me. Fine Organics 5.2% higher, 4712. There is Ketan Chemicals 3.5% higher, 71.2. So that's how it's moving. Swiggy is in the green, 3.85% higher, 509. Mitesh bhai, anything else that you are looking at? Manappuram is now the second most active traded counter. Tata Motors, sadly, most active, now 3% lower, 771. There seems to be no relief for this one. Saregama, 7% higher at 589. Your view here on Saregama, Mitesh ji?
As far as the counter is concerned, above 575, there is strong breakout, and in intraday chart as well today, the volume is also buzzing. So we think that this it's a clear cut case of a trend reversal. One should look at the target of 570, 700. 650 to 700 going forward. So with a stop of 540, one can go long in Saregama for the potential target of 700 in the next few trading sessions.
Okay, let's look at some space that is coming in apart from the chemical space in FMCG. Let me just point out volume build up. Anything that I see? Okay, SRF obviously is the third most active futures in the FNO space. Manappuram has shown a volume burst. There is positivity on Naveen Fluorine with this 10% rise. Open interest is also up 9%. IGL is coming back into action, 4% higher, 422. What else should I mark? Zydus, Mitesh Bhai has already commented on. Let's look at the price losers. Profit booking continues on Policy Bazaar, 2% lower. Oberoi Realty, 1.8% lower. Oil India 4.3% lower. That's how it is as far as prices are concerned. The Nifty now 74 points lower on its weekly expiry. Battle shifts to 23,600 between the bulls and the bears. Nifty IT down 75 and the Nifty Bank down 167. Are there any gainers as far as indices are concerned? Let me just take a detour. Advanced decline ratio. Okay, almost there, 1:1. No. There is nothing out of sorts that is looking in my eye. How about top gainers? Okay, we've marked all of them. Sun TV 1.6% higher, Bajaj Auto 1.4% higher, IEX up 1.1%. This is how it is, ladies and gentlemen. Mitesh bhai, anything out of the ordinary that you notice in the futures and options space? Anything in the cash market that is catching your fancy?
As far as the FNO is concerned, I think Paytm is now moving very smartly from 900, and I see in few minutes only it went to 915. So I think above 912, there is a strong breakout as far as future is concerned, and the intraday targets are here to stay at 930, 940. Apart from that, Petronet LNG is looking pretty interesting at 334. So that is a stock which one should add with a stop of 330 for the potential target of 340, 345 for intraday. As far as cash counters are concerned, I think all the chemical space, as you have mentioned rightly, is looking pretty interesting. So now with that fertilizer also
Yes.
joining hands. So I think Deepak Fertilizer is looking interesting as of now.
Okay. Many of these charts have come back to life after uh, 10, 12 quarters. That's roughly 3 years. Balaji Amines, you see the peak that we saw was in May of 2021. Actually, August of 2021, which was 3,000, which was almost 5,055, 5,200 actually, yes. And from then on, it's done nothing for 3 years, and suddenly it bursts out. So what you see is a move that is happening from a low of, yes, March 2021. So sectors coming back into focus, as also the NBFC space, which surged very, very sharply yesterday. Um, Mitesh bhai, any fancy that you have for any NBFC stock, Credit Access, Samman Capital, maybe a view on Fusion Finance or Five Star? What is the best performing NBFC stock on your charts?
In credit assets, that is how it works. So if you look at
Sorry,
the chart,
Credit Access.
hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Please continue on Credit Access.
Yeah, so if you're talking about credit assets, access, I think the stock has deep from 1800 level, and recently it formed a bottom at around 813 level. In the last 3 days, Shailji, if you see, it's a height of higher bottom formation along with a very strong volume. So we are of the view that this is nothing but a sign of strong reversal and consolidation. So probably for a few days going forward, the stock might perform on the muted side, but yes, overall, the structure is very good. We are of the view that the floor is set now between 810 to 815. So with a stop of 800, one can go long at the current level as well.
The reason for this very sharp rise in both Navin Fluorine and SRF is very simple. US gas distributors have raised prices of refrigerant gases by about 200%, between 0 and 200%. And on SRF and Navin Fluorine, there are research reports that are coming in saying that a dollar 1 kg change per kg, if you raise the price by dollar on a refrigerant gas which is called R32, the realization for SRF's increase in EBITDA is by 260 crores, and ditto for Navin Fluorine, it has 77 crore rupees. So that's how the reason you see a very sharp spurt in SRF and Navin Fluorine at least, and the rest of them like fluorochemicals, Balaji amines, alkylamines have followed suit. So this is one sector that people can look forward to. But apart from that, I don't see anything that catches my fancy. Indraprasth gas, Mitesh bhai, 4% higher. Any view that you would have at 427?
As far as both IGL and MGL is concerned, and especially IGL, I think let's wait for more consolidation and more sign, because as far as the Indraprastha gas is concerned, we have a very strong vertical rise and vertical fall, and the volatility is not allowing us to conclude anything. So I think the current up move which we have witnessed from the level of 306 might get sold into. So we'll have to wait for a longer period of time, Shalji. Let's wait for a month or so. Let's after the big crack, if you look at on the monthly chart, which is it has started in the month of October, the high was 569 and the close was 420. So on the monthly chart for both October and November, stock had a very strong decline. After that, in the month of December, the stock paused and regained its losses a bit. But then in the month of current January, again there is a high volatility because recently the stock has hit 453 as its high, and right now it is trading near to 410, 12. So we are of the view that let's wait for a longer period of time and then we'll take the call. As of now, it is not advisable to take either a buy or a sell call in the stock.
Fair point. Okay, we are at 9:36. The first 20-21 minutes of trade have lapsed. 23,600 remains with the bulls as far as Nifty is concerned on its weekly expiry day, but across the board you see selling pressure building up unless you are into chemicals as a sector, or you are betting on Manappuram Finance. Now 6.5% higher at 191. Manappuram has already shown volumes of 344 crore rupees, and this is purely news led, which is that the RBI has removed restrictions on its lending for microfinance. What is in top shape is now Naveen Fluorine, 12% higher, 3,915. An EBITDA improvement of 77 crore rupees if refrigerant gases are hiked by $1 per kg. And I just want to show you what is the level of pain that people have seen in Naveen Fluorine. Its all-time high was 4,905, which we saw in May 2023. From May 2023, the stock has pretty much done nothing at all. In fact, it slipped all the way down to almost 3,000 rupees on 3rd of June 2024, and from then on sideways until today. So that's how it is, and that's a story that has been repeated ad nauseum across the chemical space. Two reasons: overcapacity and huge dumping by China. So that's what has impacted the chemical space over the last 2.5 years. Now what else is moving? Let me just get into the PSU pack. Mitesh bhai, ahead of the budget, any PSU stocks where you see strength coming in?
Change the only stock where I think the partial strength or a bit of a strength is coming back is Musgao Dock. If you look at the chart pattern of Musgao Dock, in the recent past, it hits a low of around 1,925, and then we have witnessed a very strong up move to the tune of 2,674. But on the daily chart recently, we had again seen a fall. So it's a vertical rise followed by a vertical fall. We are of the view that the consolidation will take place in the next few days, and again the stock has the potential to reach past 2674, which is its recent high. So within the PSU space, Musgao Dock is looking interesting.
Okay. More action coming in. This time on Carborundum Universal, 1.1% higher is what I see on Carborundum Universal at 1258. Old world favorites are coming back. AstraZeneca 5.5% higher, 7261. You have Jubilant Ingravia 2.5% higher at 809. Tata Communications is back in action, 1.4% higher, 1728. Within the IT pack, ladies and gentlemen, which kickstarts today's third quarter earnings, nothing much is happening. On the back foot is what IT is, except for Infosys and TCS, which show bit gains. You have a 1% downtick on Wipro, a third of a percent lower on HCL Tech. Persistent, Coforge are down about 1% each. L&T, Mindtree, Tech Mahindra also slipping. That's how it is. Mild move coming into fact. This is the fertilizer space, 3% higher, but it's Manappuram, and Manappuram all the way. Now 6.5% higher. SRF is 13% higher. So the first circuit has come off, which is the 10% in F&O space, and both SRF and Naveen Fluorine have surged forward. 13.4% higher now. Obviously 15 is the next stop as far as circuits are concerned. Mitesh bhai, would you want to revisit both Naveen and SRF on the charts?
So I think the momentum will has just started, and I think we are of the view that this is just the beginning, because in past we have witnessed that as and when the chemical space comes into the action, the first reaction is always going to be like 20% upper circuit for majority of the stock, followed by a very strong buying momentum. So one should not think there are two things, Shailji. Looking at the market structure, one should not think that this is a selling opportunity. So that is one thing which you should keep in your mind, that since SRF is up by 13% doesn't mean it's a shorting opportunity. So please don't short any of this stock belonging to this segment. Second thing, it's 13% up.
Yes.
Once it's 13% up does not mean that the rally is over. The rally has just started. So probably in the next few days, we will be talking about SRF at around 3,000 level
Yes.
as well. So do not underestimate the upside of this chemical space. Both on the upside, it will surprise, and there is no question of sorting this space as well.
Yes, for those people who've come in later in the market, we've seen SRF have a fabulous time in the 2020 era, 2020 2021, when the stock actually appreciated from 2,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees in a span of maybe 18-20 months, and then it lost the mojo, announced a 5-for-1 split, and from 2,500 rupee levels, somewhere in let us say this was March 2022, it did absolutely nothing for 3 years, and suddenly you have this burst. It did not even fall. So, from a low of 2,000 rupees to a high of 2,500 rupees is what SRF did for 3 years, and today you see this burst. This is absolutely right. Advice coming in from Hitesh Bhai, don't short this. This is probably the beginning of a new trend, and something that the market has been looking forward to from this chemicals blue chip. What else is happening? Let's touch base uh, back from the market and look at volume buzzers in the small cap space. Okay, the small cap 100 is right there in front of me. Volume buzzers are Aarti Industries 1.3% higher, and strong volume, about 130% of 5-day average. There is Chambal Fertilizers 1.1% higher, Mahanagar Gas 1.9% higher. Nothing much to talk about. Top gainers are again Naveen Fluorine and Manappuram in the small cap space. Anything else that I'd like to mark? No. Maybe Scient from the tech space 1.2% higher, 1821. Mitesh bhai, anything that you are observing?
To stock, Nika is looking pretty interesting at 172. We have recommended in the morning hours, so our clients might have direct or indirect position. And secondly, a risky stock, but I think momentum is coming back into Z. So Z is also looking pretty interesting. Z Entertainment at 134. So the stop of 120, one should get into Z as well, because we are of the view that every bad news is being priced into, and you are going to get a very strong momentum really going forward. So I think Z is looking pretty interesting apart from Nika.
So both are low ticket and high beta items. Now the entire fertilizer space has started to move. RCF 1.7% higher, 172.6. GSFC 1.7% higher, 204. Fact I've already marked, now back in 4 digits, 4% higher, 1001. This is a space to look forward to, and maybe also trade ahead of the budget. Your favorite fertilizer stock, Mitesh bhai? I can answer on your behalf, but I won't. Why don't you do the honors?
Sorry, sir, can you please repeat the question?
Your favorite fertilizer stock?
Undoubtedly, Chambal Fertilizer, because the chart pattern is looking pretty interesting. And when we
I knew it.
are so when we are looking for a longer, I mean, higher time frame, one chart which is telling us that probably that sooner than later that the stock will enter into a from the space of fertilizer is Chambal Fertilizer at 500. If you look at the rally from 250 to 500, it is amazing. We are of the view that next pause is at around 800. So one should look at Chambal Fertilizer. And we have Shailji for the current calendar year have weighted at least 5 to 8% in our portfolio for both chemical space and fertilizer space. As you know, before 4 or 5 months, we have released a special report on agrochemical space in which we have covered four stocks. So all the four stocks are making a very strong comeback today.
Hmm. Okay. Deepak Fertilizers you had just marked is now at 1218 and 2.5% higher. Let me just raise this chart in front of me. Yes, this one's also doing very well. Okay. Wow, this is a good one. All time high is about 1400 and we have a strong move coming in today, 1.25% higher. Yes, this looks good, and let us see what the other charts are telling us. Okay, BASF, Chambal Fertilizers. Okay, all of them. This is the the budget, the pre-budget rally now taking root in low ticket high beta items. Look at fact. I started marking it at 991. It is now 1012. Look at how smartly GNFC has started to move 2.9% higher at 573. You have Deepak Fertilizer, something that Mitesh Bhai marked. Coromandel Fertilizers has come up 1958, 1% higher. So traders have a very strong show coming into the fertilizer space. Anything that catches my fancy, I can't take my eyes away from Manappuram and of course Swiggy. Is the correction over in Swiggy, Mitesh Bhai? We have 250 crores traded and it was maybe a 15 session daily downtick on Swiggy starting from 23rd of December. What are the charts telling you?
I think Shailji, if you look at the structure, it is too early to comment on this stock because after hitting its all-time high at 617, since last few trading sessions, stock is not pausing and it's a one-way slide. We are of the view that the pause or the strong support emerges in the range of 420 to 440. So till that time, we are of the view that one should be cautious. Any rally on the upside should be sold into. The bottom has yet not been formed. The trend reversal level is above 558 from where it has pause and breakdown. So above 558 only you will be able to get into the counter, or it is advisable to get into the counter because it's a trend reversal level. Else the best range for accumulation as far as our understanding is concerned is between 420 to 450.
Okay, 948. That's the view that is coming in from Mitesh Bhai on Twitter. What else is moving? Indraprastha Gas now almost 6% higher, 431 for you. Masgao, which Mitesh Bhai just marked 2% higher, 2196. Are there any other defense stocks that are in top shape? Let's look at them. Okay, no. I think BEL is something that we should be looking at simply because this wonderfully strong balance sheet is now available at 200-day DMA. Mitesh Bhai, your prognosis on BEL?
As far as BEL is concerned, looking pretty interesting, as you have said. We are of the view that the stock might come up to 270 odd levels on the downside. So the accumulation range between 270 to 275. However, the stock is trading at 280. On the upside, Shelji, about 292, to be very precise technically, there is a strong breakout. So about 292, till 292, one has to wait. But if you are getting hourly breakout on the hourly chart, on 292, please don't wait. Then there is a strong move up, which will scale the stock to the tune of 320 to 330 levels. So 292 is an absolute strong reversal level.
Also coming back into action, only slight action is KPIT. Please keep this one in mind. Nothing much to talk about in front of the chart, but it's also up 0.5% at 1435. Fact is taking it away. Mitesh bhai, would you want to analyze fact? This is a very, very high beta stock, and this works very well because of its low volume also. So fact moved in early part of December for 3-4 days, then went sideways, and it begins a fresh move today. Your view on fact?
Yeah, it was a marathon rally. I mean, from the level of, if you see, 2022 belongs to the stock. The year 2023 and 24 both belongs to the stock. If I look at the weekly chart, we had a consolidation. We had a first its all-time high at around 908 on 25th of January 2024. After that, stock went into the consolidation and then hits its all-time high at 1187, then consolidation. So we are of the view that yes, you have identified right stock. The trend reversal level is 184, 1084. That is the high which it is formed on 20th of December 2024. So once it takes out 1084, Shailji, again, the stock will hit a new high. In that case, probably the aggressive target on the upside will be at around 1500 rupees. So one should get into the counter only above 1084.
Okay, fair point. That's a very sensible advice coming in. I see a strong move coming into agrochemical space, and this is BASF, the German giant. It's done absolutely nothing from 8,500 rupees, 8,200 rupees that we last saw in October 2024, corrected very sharply to 5,500 and is now almost available at 200-day DMA. Please keep an eye out on this one as well. Nothing else catches my fancy. So yesterday the fancy was NBFCs. Today the fancy is chemicals, agrochemical space. What else can I point out on some real estate stocks? This is very interesting. I'd like your view on Ashiana Housing and Anantraj. These were two stocks that hit record highs. Let's look at what Ashiana is doing. This has been a multi-bagger of a stock over the last 2 decades, but now at 382, all-time highs 450. Mitesh bhai, a nice cup forming.
Absolutely. Asiana Housing are looking pretty interesting, about 370. Right now, the stock is trading at 382. So it's a trend reversal. One should get into the stock. The upside, on the upside, stock likely to hit 420 to 450 levels. As far as Antraj is concerned, I remember the stock trading before its corporate events on in the year 2018 at around 23, 25, 30 rupees. And we had a position in that stock. Somehow we have exited. But after this split on the announcement, it is a one-way rally. So now Anantraj is likely to enter into the 4-digit. So the immediate target is 1000 rupees. Stop could be placed at 875.
Okay, we'll take a detour into the indices space. The top loser today is the Nifty Realty Index, down 1%, and there are hardly any gainers. I mean, 0.17% on a Nifty FMCG, it says nothing at all. But a strong show again on BASF. I'll mark 7.5% higher, 55.86. The bounce coming from 100-day moving average. How about Naveen Fluorine, still 11.5% higher, SRF 11.5% higher. Chambal, keep an eye out on this one. This is a great stock picked up by Mitesh Bhai, showing strong sense, 510 now, 2.5% higher. So Deepak Fertilizer, Fact, BASF from the chemicals, agrochemical space, even Chambal. Naveen and SRF from the refrigerant chemical space, and there's no stopping Saregama and Manappuram Finance. Mitesh bhai, before we let you go, one view on the market till Jan 20th?
It's all about a stock specific
Mitesh bhai,
action.
you will have to unmute yourself.
Yes. I've unmuted. So it's all about a stock
We
specific
can hear
action.
you now.
Yes, so it's all about a stock specific action strategy. One should not look at the indices because, as per our opinion, indices will move into a broader consolidation in the next 1 to 2 months. So it's all about sector and stock specific. You continue with the current rally. Don't try to short the stock specific ideas which are up by 5, 7, 8%. I think chemical and the agrochemical space along with fertilizer likely to dominate in next 1 to 2 months. Apart from that, there is a strong sign that sugar might also join hands going forward, and the much awaited reversal will take place in entire FMCG sector. So per se, what is going to be my strategy for the next 1 and 2 months? It's agro space, chemical space, fertilizer space, and FMCG. That is where I would like to place my bet for the next 1 to 2 months. Rest, I would like to study, observe, and then we'll make a note and then we'll take an action.
Okay. And your final word on ITC?
ITC, as I said, the rally has started in FMCG. ITC going forward, likely to enter into a new trading range. Probably 455 is where it is trading right now with a stop of 420. One can go long for the potential target of 480 and 500. One should not miss the ongoing rally in the FMCG sector because majority of the stocks are available at a very attractive and interesting risk reward ratio.
Okay, thank you very much, Mitesh bhai, and we look forward to welcoming you again for your excellent views and very practical thoughts. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll call it a day so far on market today. Let me just wrap up the show. So it's the weekly expiry of the Nifty. We are caught in a cleft. 23,600 as a base and 23,800 is where the top is, which meets with heavy selling pressure. So the Nifty is likely to be range bound. Ditto on Nifty Bank, nothing much happening there. It's the start of the earnings season today. TCS will be announcing its third quarter earnings post market hours. So IT will remain in focus. It's the chemical space that has burst out of oblivion after 2.5 years of rest. Two top stocks, Navin Fluorine and SRF, both makers of refrigerant gases, have come up with 11-12% gains on very heavy volumes after a sideways trend for about 3.5 years, on news that US gas stockpiles, US gas distributors have increased prices of refrigerant gases substantially. And with that, you have a strong move coming into stocks such as Balaji Amines, Alkyl Amines, Fluorochem, Gujarat Fluorochem, names that we had almost forgotten in the past 2.5 years. Agrochemical space is turning up in strength ahead of the budget. Therefore, you see BASF, you see Chambal Fertilizers, FACT, GNFC and GSFC in strong shape. That's how the market is so far. Please remain glued to Business Today Television. There's a lot happening on the other side of the break. Thank you for watching.
US President-elect Donald Trump set to take over in just next few days. However, he's made his agenda very clear. It's controversial, to say the least, and it has led to a full-on debate, and not just with domestic politics in the USA, but even from the neighbor nation of Canada. Trump has made, for example, a proposal, which is to